It's Wild Card Weekend, 6 games over 3 days. Who's under the most pressure? Where's the high-scoring gem? Where's the defense wins championship matchup? And what's the can't-miss game? We're going to go over everything. So let's go ahead and get started. Who is under the most pressure this weekend, team or player? Bump.
I've been saying his name all year.
Oh, God.
You know what it is.
Yeah.
Mr. Sam Darnold, Mr. USC. Mr. Jets got me all messed up.
Mr. Seeing Ghosts.
Mr. Seeing Ghosts. Mr. Bounce Back. You know, it's got to be Sam Darnold because he's got the most at stake. He's got some money to make. Imagine if he goes on a run and he makes it to the conference championship game. My man would have the biggest come up I've seen in the last, 10 years in the NFL. So I'm looking at the Vikings because it's just hard to believe in it. The last time I saw the Vikings play this well and I started to believe Dante Culpepper and them dudes were out there getting it done. It's big for Minnesota. They've never won a Super Bowl. Their fan base is loyal. I went to Minnesota one time. That was the first time I saw every building downtown connected by a bridge because it's so cold. They're like, look, you just walk through these tunnels, you got to walk outside.
Oh, what?
Right? That's how miserable it is in Minnesota at times. It's got to be Sam Darnold. You got Justin Jefferson. You got Addison. This team's ready to go. Kevin O'Connell's gone. It's the Vikings.
I think it's cool he can see ghosts. Call him Haley Joel.
Do you believe in ghosts?
He's a medium.
I don't know. Can we take a 10-second pause? I don't think I do. Like at 3 p.m. on a Wednesday, I don't believe in ghosts. At 3 a.m. on that Thursday, if I hear a weird noise and I see like a jacket hanging on a door that looks shady, I believe.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't take much. Yeah, and that's probably how Sam feels. You know what I mean? Against a bad defensive line with everyone healthy up front, it's 3 p.m. on a Wednesday. you hear a creaky house in a creepy 3 a.m. territory when you're facing off against a really good defense. Different story.
Yeah, different story. I'm with you 100%.
Different things happening.
I'm with you. What you got?
I have an answer that you've already said. This is for a previous 4-down territory, but I just really agree with it, and it's Lamar Jackson. I think that I don't necessarily think it's unfair that neither he nor Josh have appeared in a Super Bowl, and yet so many people point to Lamar as like, well, why haven't you done it? Because you answered the question. I threw it your way. You were like, well, Lamar's a 2-time MVP. Lamar's done amazing things in the regular season. Josh is only just kind of falling into it, and Josh will probably face those questions in the coming years if he continues to perform. I was looking at Lamar's regular season versus postseason. I mean, regular season this year, he's got 41 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. That's bonkers insane, and I cannot believe it. Postseason appearances, he's got 6 touchdowns to 6 interceptions and like a 55% completion percentage. Like, he's not been electric. In the 2023 playoffs.
Last year wasn't his fault.
Last year wasn't his fault.
Monk called a horrible game.
But listen, last year, he got the most first downs with his legs than ever before. He had 9 first downs on scrambles or designed runs. And then they just kind of went away from it at some point in the championship game. This was over the course of the playoffs. At some point in the championship game, it's like, why? Look how productive he was at moving the chains. What are you doing? I know. Very weird. But I do think that he faces that criticism. I've seen it on our text line. I see it on Twitter. I see it on forums. I see it everywhere from any fan base. It's just kind of that like, well, is he an MVP in the postseason? It's the same thing, honestly, like Peyton Manning would face all the time. The constant questions of whether or not he was clutch in the postseason until he finally won.
True. I think Josh Allen needs that same smoke, though. It's crazy how Lamar Jackson gets critiqued. It feels differently than Josh Allen. Maybe it's a privilege that he's critiqued that way because people see the potential in him and they assume or expect him to win a championship. He's had the best regular season a quarterback has ever had in the NFL. Ever. 4,100 yards, 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. 915 yards on the ground. It's the best regular season we've ever seen out of a quarterback, and he's not going to win the MVP. But because you've had that season, you got to back it up. I like that that you put Lamar out there. It's different type of pressure expectations.
Yeah.
With Sam, it's like you gotta prove that you're for real. Are you a one-trick pony? Is this a joke? Is this a dream? Am I going to wake up? With Lamar, it's, okay, we've seen this before. Now you got to go out and do it when it absolutely matters. The messed up part about this is I filled in my bracket. I got them winning. But something tells me
it's not
going to happen. And I feel bad for Lamar because If it doesn't happen now, it won't happen. You got one of the best running backs of all time in the backfield. They have to load the box and put 7 guys in there so you're able to throw the football. If you don't get it done this year, I don't know if you ever will.
Can I say one final thing about Lamar versus Josh before we move on to our next kind of focus for the wild card weekend here? The last thing I want to say, I understand the argument of Josh having overall fewer weapons than Lamar, and so his season is seemingly more impressive. And I can even get behind it. Like, I would be totally fine with Josh Allen winning MVP. And I took Josh Allen yesterday as my first player off the board when we were going through making like our kind of like fantasy picks for all the current playoff picture players. That being said, we talk about Josh Allen like he's playing with the Raiders, or like he's been thrown the Patriots roster. Like, yes, he does not have a top-tier receiver. He doesn't have Diggs anymore. He doesn't have Derrick Henry. He does have a better offensive line than Lamar Jackson. In fact, the Bills graded out as I think the 3rd or 4th best offensive line in football from Pro Football Focus. Take that with a grain of salt if you aren't big on Pro Football Focus grades, but it's not like he's playing with a bunch of nobodies. He's just not playing with a bunch of first-team All-Pros. There is a big difference there. Let's not act like they threw him on a nobody roster. They threw him on like a team that did not have a top 5 roster, but was nowhere near the worst team in football. I want to push back against that narrative a tiny bit.
I mean, yeah, I feel you. Their best position is probably tight ends. They got 2 tight ends over there that are pretty good, and even they're putting up 400 yards and 300 yards there. Khalil Shakir is a good wide out. He has 821. Keon Coleman is I think a rising star in the league. He'll be good. No, he doesn't have nobodies over there, but you look at everyone else who's in the playoffs, you can name a star on offense that's not a quarterback for almost every single team that's in this deal.
Fair.
So I think that is what makes it impressive for the voters when it comes to Josh Allen and what he's doing. Me personally, if I had a vote, I'm voting for Lamar. It's the greatest season we've seen out of a quarterback, and he's not going to get it because of the talent that he has over there. They're saying, well, he's only throwing the football a lot because he has Derrick Henry, and you have to load the box. That is true. You have to load the box against Derrick Henry. So it's almost unfair the way that he's being judged. But end of the day, I think you're right. Lamar has the most pressure when it comes to expectations. You have to get it done. I think Sam Darnold has the most pressure when it comes to defining who you are for real. You have to prove. Everyone knows Lamar is great. No one's denying that. But for some reason, he gets into the playoffs and things happen. With Sam Darnold is, I don't know if I can believe in this or not. It's like when I see a freshman play well his freshman year, I go, all right, sophomore, let's see what you do your sophomore year. That's the way I'm looking at Sam Darnold.
Next up for our Wild Card Weekend preview, the can't miss game. You got 6 games on the schedule here, 2 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, 1 Monday night. Obviously, you guys have busy weekends. You're not going to be able to catch all of these. So if we're saying make this one appointment viewing, which one are you looking at?
Appointment viewing.
I had the schedule.
Games this weekend. Yeah. Thanks for showing me the schedule, Stacy. You know I can't see that far.
I zoomed in for you. See how I zoomed into like 100? I'm at 125%.
That's all good. I have a desktop
but then
in front
I put
of me.
it 150.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I would have to say, for me, honestly, it's Monday Night Football.
Really? That's not what I thought you would say.
And I know people, get off of Sam Darnold. Okay, all right, this is the last time I'll talk about him. Probably not, but listen, Minnesota against Los Angeles, because I'm looking at the Rams, and I'm starting to believe in him. I'm starting to believe that McVay has the secret sauce that he gives to the team at the end of the year, and they start to play well. And then I'm looking at Minnesota. Kevin O'Connell, 39 years old, head coach. He's turned this thing around. Can he get his team to execute in the playoffs? It's Monday Night Football. Everybody's going to be watching this game. It's prove it. And you have the guy who started the young head coach wave in McVay. How old is McVay now? He got to be at least 40 now.
No, I think he's 37, 38. I think he's a little older than Mike McDonald.
Goodness gracious. So he started the young quarterback wave. He's 38. Dang. Younger than me.
You're washed. I knew you were going to say.
He started the young quarterback wave, head coach wave, and we're seeing it all across the league. You got a 37-year-old here. You got O'Connell, who's 39. They have similar offenses. I'm looking at that game. I think that's a good culminating game for the first weekend of playoffs.
I am not shocked to hear you say that game. I did think you would go with Sunday afternoon's matchup. Green Bay Packers at Eagles. Jalen Hurts clear concussion protocol. He's officially playing. I don't know how many people really doubted that he would play. There was some concern, but throw that concern out the window. So now you're looking at a good Green Bay Packers team against a very good Philadelphia Eagles team. 1:30 p.m. Saquon Barkley didn't get a chance to break Eric Dickerson's regular season rushing record in Week 18. Does he have a chance to have an explosive game against Green Bay? We shall see. I'm so excited to see what he can do. It's rare that you have a running back that outshines your quarterback, but that's who I'm watching on Sunday afternoon. Obviously, there are questions about Jordan Love and whether or not he can meet the moment, but the Packers have been just this really rowdy team at times and really stubborn, and this is a phenomenal matchup. I can't wait. This is my can't miss. If you're not doing anything Sunday afternoon, find a bar, hang out with some friends, do whatever. This is mine.
Yeah, I like that. I like that matchup. Can Philly running back? When's the last time they won the Super Bowl, Curtis? Was that 17?
2017. Nick Foles, Super Bowl MVP. Bear down.
There you go. I set you up beautifully for that.
Thank you.
Can Philly build off of just the year that Barkley has had? He almost beats Dickerson's record, right? You sit him out that last week for what? If you go out and you lose that first round,
right,
and you set your boy, set your boy, you don't get the record, and you lose in the first round, that season will be a complete disaster. I think they're going to win this ball game. I think that the Green Bay Packers are young. Last year, they shocked everybody, got into the playoffs. I believe they beat the Dallas Cowboys in the first week of the playoffs, and they're a young, up-and-coming team, and I think they still got some things to do. They lost a downfield threat in Christian Watson. He has an ACL thing. That's going to be all done. Philly should be favored to win this game. I'm sure Vegas has them winning this game. Let me check real quick. Yeah, they got them by 5 points. But yeah, no, that's a good one because this is a second round matchup. This shouldn't be a first round matchup.
Exactly.
That just tells you how crazy the NFC North is that the Green Bay Packers have to play the Eagles.
This feels like a divisional game. I totally agree with you. All right, let's get to likeliest first upset. The likely first upset we'll see this weekend is going to be what game?
I said it yesterday. What did I say yesterday?
No, you did not really mean that,
I did.
though.
Denver!
You didn't.
Denver's going to get it done.
This is Sunday morning.
Denver's
Denver Broncos
done.
at Bills.
At the Bills.
No.
Bo Nix and them.
Stop.
Going to get it done.
You're ridiculous.
Watch. I'm telling you. And the reason why I think this is because Josh Allen has had to do everything for this team.
Okay.
Absolutely everything.
Fair.
And it's hard when you keep going back to the well. The well's going to dry up eventually. And I don't think he's going to win a Super Bowl this year. I don't think he's getting to the conference championship this year. Mark my words. The Denver Broncos, with that solid defense they have, Bo Nix is going to shock the world, and he's going to play better than Josh Allen in his house, make a sandwich in his kitchen, and they are going to get it done because eventually, man, you just can't do it all. My man Josh Allen needs some help, and I think there's more help with the Denver Broncos than it is over there with Josh Allen.
I took the boring answer with the final game. I think we're going to go chalk for the most part as far as favorites. Not all of the favorites are the hosting teams. I'm taking Chargers over Houston. I'm taking Baltimore, who's hosting, obviously, the Steelers.
Hold on. You said one big upset.
Yeah.
You just named two.
No.
What's your go-to?
Chargers wouldn't be. I'm taking the favored Chargers.
Okay.
I'm taking the favored Ravens. I'm taking the favored Bills. I'm taking the favored Eagles. I'm taking the favored Commanders. And I think I'm taking the Rams over the Vikings. On my bracket, I took the Vikings. So this would ruin my bracket.
Why are you lying then?
Because if you have to ask me, because I think it's actually going to be a pretty predictable weekend, but if you had to ask me which of these feels like the likeliest upset, I think it's going to be the Rams over the Vikings.
I can see it.
Everything else, I'm like, I can see the potential case, but I really don't believe it. I really don't believe that the Broncos are going to beat the Bills. You get full bragging rights. Come on in here on Monday and open the show by saying, I'm a prophet.
Hey, I'm not even going to come on Monday. I'm going to ask if I can come on Sunday and just do 10 minutes.
You guys care if I do a quick Sunday afternoon show, just interrupt national programming? And hey, this is Michael Bumpus here. Just wanted to brag and say that I did take the Denver Broncos over the Bills. No, I think it's going to be pretty boring, pretty predictable. But the Rams are one of those really weird teams where none of their stats are necessarily better than the Vikings. The Vikings were a top 10 scoring offense, top 10 scoring defense. They are very well-rounded, very good, and have been for the most part very consistent. They are a 14-win wild card team. The Rams are the only team worse than Houston on third down efficiency. They are statistically one of the worst teams in the playoffs, but they beat the Minnesota Vikings and they beat the Bills. And when they're at their very best, they're pretty good.
The Rams are one of the teams where you throw the stats away. You throw them away.
Yeah, you have to kind of ignore them.
And you look at who they are the last 3 or 4 weeks. They haven't scored a lot of points the last 3 or 4 weeks, but they've beaten teams and they're getting healthy. They're one of the teams, the veteran teams, even though they do have a young defensive line, that if they just get into the playoffs, things could happen. That's the message I guarantee you from Sean McVay. Let's just get to the dance. We get to the dance, we're going to pull the dime piece and shock everybody. That's what they're thinking right now. And they have a veteran quarterback in Matthew Stafford. They have Cooper Kupp and Puka over there. I don't know the status of Blake Corum, but Kyron Williams is good to go. They've just been there and done that. That's what makes the Rams scary. What makes me doubt the Vikings at times is because they haven't been there and done that.
Yeah.
And you have a quarterback who's never played at this level before. You have a offensive coordinator, a head coach who's never been in this position before. The Rams never flinched throughout the year. Not once did they flinch. They finished the season on a 5-game winning streak. Obviously, you lost to the Seahawks, but you can dress that up any way you want. You didn't play a lot of your guys. But the Rams are a team that can rely on their culture. It is established. It's been there for years now. The Vikings are the question mark, but I still think the Vikings get this one done.